So let me open this video for you.
Engineering design process is a thought process that is used to help identify problems and possible solutions. This is not something that is just used by engineers. It can really be used by anyone to help them solve a problem. The engineering design process can be broken down into 7 phases to guide and direct thinking. The 7 phases are ask, imagine, plan, create, test, improve, and share.
So again, we're gonna know what are the processes of engineers for design. So what is the first step, Ali? The red circle. Can you read the red circle? Ask. So we have to ask what is the problem. Okay? What is the problem is it? Yes. So if you face a problem, you have to ask yourself, what is exactly the problem? You have to write the problem in a paper to think about it. Then what is the next step? Imagine. Imagine means you have to imagine like a solution to solve this problem. Okay? Ibrahim Hashim. What comes next?
Mister, before I ask you something, you said I got 9,
I think.
right? I know at which test? The mathematics.
In the math exam.
What was my mistake?
I don't know. Let me check and I'll tell you later on WhatsApp. So we said the process here, the design process, we have some steps. The first of all is ask, what is the problem? Then to imagine a solution. Then
plan, then create.
Wait. Plan, what I mean by plan your solution. How can you solve this problem? You have to plan on a paper. You have to write your plan in paper, like what is your imagination. You have to plan it to solve it later. Then after planning, you have to create it. What I mean by create is to set up like and use some materials to plan, to solve your problem. Okay,
Then there's tests.
then after creating this one, you have to test your materials. Yeah, you test your plan. Then Yazan Al-Ghamdi,
then
after testing, if you find that we have a problem in your plan, you have to improve your materials, or even you have to improve your plan. Then if you find that you have no mistake, you have to apply your idea and share it with the others, right?
Improve, and share. Although that may seem like a lot of steps, it is helpful to break thinking down into smaller, more manageable pieces. Coders have a fancy word for this called decomposition. This helps you to really figure out what the problem or task is that you are trying to solve. Let's do a little explanation for each phase of the process. The ask phase. What is the problem I'm trying to solve? Can I explain the problem to someone else? Are there any constraints or limitations? And just ask as many questions as you need. The imagine phase. Brainstorm as many ideas as possible. Still stuck? Research ideas that others might have tried to solve a similar problem. And then choose a solution that you would like to plan, create, and test. The plan phase. Select one of the ideas from your brainstorming session. Draw a sketch and write out any important details. Start a list of materials or things you might use to construct your design. The create phase. This is where we say ready, set, and start creating. Build, tinker, and experiment. Try out your design. Do you need to change anything before having someone else test it? The test phase. Test out your design from beginning to end. Make any necessary changes. Ask others to test your design. Gather important feedback and suggestions from testers. The improve phase. What changes could you make to your design based on feedback you received? What would make your design easier to use? What would make your design simpler but work more efficiently? The share phase. Share your design, creation, problem solution, or other ideas with others. You will continue to receive feedback on your design, and then go back to previous steps if you need to rework your design. Although you typically follow the steps in order, the engineering design process allows for a lot of flexibility. Many times you have to go from your test phase back to your asking or imagining phases, as your solution you tested might have not worked out right. It is often said the engineering design process can be messy, but this is also one of the great things about it. You are not held to a rigid structure, but rather a framework to keep your ideas moving forward.
Okay, thank you very much for listening about this lesson. Now we're gonna see something. What is the next? What is the second topic for our sheet? Yazan, do you have the hard copy of the science sheet?
What?
Do you have the hard copy of the science sheet?
What is the hard copy of science sheet?
Yazan Al-Ghamdi, what is the next topic?
What are some plant life cycle?
Okay, what are some plants life cycle? We're gonna see it.
The plant life cycle. This lesson is for a second grade science, and the objective of the lesson is that the students will be able to recognize and describe the stages of the plant life cycle. Let's get started. The seed is the first stage of the plant life cycle. Seeds come in all different shapes, sizes, and colors. In the seed, there is a tiny root that collects nutrients such as food and water for the seed to start growing. Once the root that's in the seed starts to grow, it moves to the next stage called germination. The second stage of the plant life cycle is germination, also known as the root in the plant starts to grow. With the help of soil, sunlight, and water, this is how the root in the seed starts to grow and sprout out of the seed. As you can see, in the last two plants on the right side in the picture, the seed is sprouting into a root and stem.
So Yazan, if I ask you here, what is the germination?
Germination is like something it will break, the seed it will break to grow up.
Yeah, it's like a process of a seed to sprout, as you see, like to pick up and open to grow up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is stage 3 in the plant life cycle. The sunlight helps pull the root and stem through the dirt to above the ground. The stem coming up from the ground is also known as seedling. The roots are very strong and keep the plant in the ground and collects water and nutrients. The stem supports the plant body and sends materials throughout the plant. The fourth stage of the plant life cycle is the leaves. The leaves are very important, not only because it's the organs of the plant, but it is also where photosynthesis is. Photosynthesis is when the plant uses the sunlight to make food by using water and carbon dioxide.
Ali, what is photosynthesis operation?
Yes, teacher.
What is photosynthesis?
Is it all the things?
No. Did you listen to the video?
Yeah.
Photosynthesis is a process where the plant take the sun energy,
Yes.
like heat and light from the sun, and
I have-
absorb water and minerals from the soil
And
to make their food. I'm
Yeah,
talking
teacher,
about
can I
a
have-
plant. Yes?
for the cells.
Leave this one now.
Okay.
The fifth stage of the plant life cycle is the flowers. The flowers help spread their seeds.
So the flowers is very important stage of the plant life cycle. Listen to this.
By the next stage, called pollination. The flower is made up of petals, and in the middle is the pollen. The pollen is held by a stem called stamen. The sixth stage of the plant life cycle is pollination.
So if I ask you what is pollination, let me ask first, Usama, what is pollination?
Pollination is
Yeah.
is the bird. It is the it is the la- it is the the second.
Can you
stage
check? Can you check your sheet? What is pollination? You
The
have your hard
plant-
copy of
What?
science sheet? Do you have your hard copy of the science sheet?
Science sheet. Coffee.
So let's know what is pollination.
Pollination is when pollen from the flowers gets transferred to another flower.
Okay, Saleh, what is pollination?
Pollination is when pollen from the flowers get transferred to another flower.
Okay, pollination is when pollen from the flowers get transferred to another flower.
Pollen is very sticky and usually gets carried by either butterflies, bees, hummingbirds, or the wind. Let's recap what we learned today. The 6 stages of the plant life cycle:
Listen
Are
to
the
the
seed-
6 stages of the plant life cycle.
germination, root and stem, leaves, flowers, and pollination. The seed has a tiny root to get the nutrients. Germination is when the seed gets the nutrients and sprouts out of the seed. The root and stem stage is when the roots are what helps keep the plant stable in the ground. The stem supports the body of the plant and transfers materials throughout the plant. The leaves are the organs of the plant, and the leaves go through the process of photosynthesis.
Okay.
Photosynthesis
That's enough for me about this lesson. Now tell me what is the next topic. Yes, Ali. Yes, Ali.
Yeah. Can go to bathroom.
Okay. Now let's see some animal life cycle.
Okay, I like some. I love.
Hello everyone, welcome to Teachers Help Board. Hello students, today we are going to learn about the life cycle of animals. Look at these pictures carefully. Among them is the picture of a dog and its puppies. The other picture is a mother and her baby, a hen and its chicks, a cat and its kitten, a goat and its kid, a cow and its calf. What do you understand from this picture? They show that the young ones do not look any difference from their mothers. This is the case with almost all living creatures, with the exception of the frog and the butterfly, whose hatching look completely different. Now we will learn about the growth of animals. There are stages of growth in every living thing. Growth is visible after birth, and thereafter for some time. There is a stop in growth. The young ones of a cow, a goat, a cat and the dog grows in their mother's tummy. After birth, the young ones feed and grown on their mother's milk. All living things are not born in this way. Some animals lay eggs. The chicken is born from an egg. Ants, butterflies, fish, frogs, snakes lay eggs. As the eggs of these animals are very tiny, we don't often see their eggs. Let's learn about metamorphosis. There are similarities between a goat and its kid, and between a hen and her chicks, but a caterpillar and a butterfly are very different. Thus, in some animals, the young one grows into an adult animal that looks very different from the young one. This change of form is called metamorphosis. Let's learn about metamorphosis in a butterfly. Butterflies of various shapes and beautiful colors are a part of our environment. As butterflies grow, they pass through 4 stages: egg, larva, pupa, and adult. The adult stage is called butterfly. Growth of butterfly takes place in the following ways. The plain tiger butterfly is a very common one. The female plain tiger butterfly lays an egg on the milkweed leaf. Within 6 to 8 days, the larva emerges from the egg. The larva of the butterfly is called as a caterpillar. When the caterpillar comes out of the egg, it is very hungry. It begins to nibble and eat the leaf very fast. So, its growth is very rapid. It molts 4 times. It remains in the caterpillar stage for 10 to 12 days. Now, we learn about chrysalis. Just before the last molt, the caterpillar weaves the button of a silken thread on a stalk.
Ibrahim Abdul Hadi,
Yes,
let me ask you, what is the life cycle of frog?
I know the life cycle of frogs. I can
Yeah.
tell you. Okay, do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. Life cycle of frog. A female frog lays eggs. Up to maybe a bunch of eggs. I don't really know how much, but it lays a bunch. Basically, a half of the eggs basically die because of wind and rain, that they're weak. They're not that strong. So they disappear. But the layers keep a half of them survive.
Mm-hmm.
They're in protection with their other ones. With the other eggs are protecting the inner eggs. Basically, these become infected eggs. When they're infected, they actually grow. When they grow, they become a little tadpoles. Okay, the
Okay.
tadpoles are the baby form. The tadpoles will eat their bubbled their protection thing. Basically, have like little fins. They're similar to fishes, but they're not.
Okay. Now give me a conclusion about the life cycle of butterfly, please.
Butterfly life cycle, I know it.
Okay.
Look, a butterfly lays an egg. The egg, after time to time, becomes a little baby caterpillar. The caterpillar will, when the caterpillar gets out of the egg, it becomes very hungry that it eats.
So you mean by baby, it's the egg of a butterfly?
Butterflies lay eggs.
Eggs. Okay.
Yeah, but wait. Then when the caterpillar eats enough food, it makes something called a cocoon. We call it a pupa. And the caterpillar is called as a larva during baby. During baby mode, during the baby age, it's called as larva. During it grows up a little, it's called as caterpillar. And when it becomes a cocoon, it's also called as pupa. But when it's hatched, when the pupa takes a lot of days or years.
Okay.
To hatch. When it hatches, it brings out the butterfly. It's because the caterpillar was evolving.
And after all of that, the last stage is called what?
It's the same way as us during babies, but we do not have something protection.
So the last stage is called adult butterfly.
The cocoon protects it for it to grow during the end of the cocoon. Eating a lot of food, it can survive for a long time.
Okay, Ibrahim, thank you very much for this valuable information.
Stalk or a leaf, and hangs itself from it. This time it forms a pupa, which is the next stage of its growth. The pupa of a butterfly is also called a chrysalis. It remains inside the chrysalis for the next 11 or 12 days. It does not eat anything during this stage. However, inside the chrysalis, important changes take place in its body. The growth of the plain tiger butterfly gets completed inside the chrysalis. Then the adult butterfly emerges from the chrysalis. Now it has 4 attractive wings and 6 long legs. All butterflies go through these stages of growth. Always remember, butterflies are a part of our environment. It is wrong to catch butterflies just for fun and to keep them tied with the string.
Okay. Thank you for listening to this one. Now let's jump to another topic. What is the next topic, Yazan Al-Ghamdi?
The next topic is named what 3 minutes.
Again, say it again. What are some animals' behavior, right?
Yes.
So let me see it.
You did it with the screen. Now you put.
What new adventures can we see? What are the answers to the never-ending questions in your brain that's in a race to find the reason or the place from deep on Earth to outer space so that the truth of any case can be unfurled in the real world. Science in the real world.
Hi, Kirsten. Welcome to Real World Science. Ever wonder why geese tend to fly in a triangular pattern? Or how chameleons know to camouflage themselves when a predator comes? Why do animals act the way they do? Let's find out. Types of behavior. Much like humans, animals are either born with or learn certain behaviors that allow for their survival. They learn how to store food, escape from predators, and take care of themselves in their environment. Today, we are all going to become ethologists, or people who study animal behavior. Ever wonder why babies cry so much? Because they are unable to actually say, "Hey, I'm hungry," or "I'm really tired. Put me in bed." Babies cry to get their parents' attention. This is a type of behavior. Behavior is the way an organism responds to its environment. An animal's survival depends upon its behavior. There are two kinds of behavior: innate and learned. Innate behavior is behavior that an organism is born with and does not have to be learned. For example, baby monkeys grasp things with their hands and feet without being taught. Animals that cannot breathe underwater will not attempt to breathe when placed underwater. These animals were never told that they will be unable to breathe when submerged in water. It is innate. Another example is blinking. If someone blows into a baby animal or human's eyes, they will close them. They are not taught to close their eyes to keep them from drying out. This is innate as well. These innate behaviors are genetic and are coded in an animal's DNA. They are passed down from generation to generation and are helpful in the survival of a species. Innate behaviors. There are two types of innate behaviors: reflexes and instincts. Reflex is a simple innate behavior that is an automatic response and does not involve a message to the brain. Do you remember who taught you how to blink or how to yawn? You can't, because these behaviors are all reflexes. We were all born with the involuntary response to blink. Another example is the fact that if you touch a hot surface, your reflex is to pull your hand quickly away. A sensory receptor sends a signal to the spinal cord through a path called the reflex arc, and you quickly respond, pulling your hand away from the heat. Animals are born with reflexes as well. When an animal hears a loud noise or detects the scent of a predator, they have a response to flee. This is an example of a reflex. They do not involve signals to the brain. Instead, the animal knows to run. Now, instincts are more complex innate behaviors. Instinct is a complex pattern of innate behavior that can take weeks to complete. A spider is born with the ability to spin a web. However, this is an instinct, not a reflex, because it is a more complex pattern of behavior. Using instinct, many different species of birds migrate from those places where they breed and raise their young to other habitats where they spend the winter. Migrating birds use innate behavior to know when to begin migration and the route that they should follow. Using innate behavior, the rattlesnake will rattle its tail as a warning. If tail rattling does not work, the rattlesnake will strike at the person or thing that is a threat to its safety. imprinting and conditioning. Now let's talk about learned behavior. Did you know that when babies are in their mother's womb, they can actually hear their mother's voice? Then, when the baby is born, he or she automatically recognizes their mother's voice. This is a type of imprinting. It's a learned behavior. Imprinting occurs when an animal forms a social attachment to another organism during a specific period following birth or hatching. During this time, animals generally learn the smell of their home, the taste of the food that they need, and other survival smells and behaviors. This occurs early in life because it is when animals are absorbing the most amount of information that they will carry with them for the rest of their lives. Imprinted behaviors are fairly permanent and are extremely difficult, if not impossible, to change. The most famous type is known as filial imprinting. This is the term used to describe the fact that many animals form an instant attachment to the first moving object that they see and immediately assume that that object is its mother. Another type of learned behavior is conditioning. Conditioning occurs when the response to a stimulus becomes associated with another stimulus. Conditioning involves the ability of one animal to associate one stimulus with another. Have you ever trained a new puppy? Most owners condition their dogs to sit, speak, or perform a certain trick on command. They then reward their animal every time the dog performs favorably. The dog is then conditioned to learn that when he follows his owner's command, he gets a treat. Aggression, courtship, and social behavior.
Okay, now I'd like to thank you all for this time. All what I need from you is to write the sheet more than 2 times. Write all information like terms and expressions, like the information included in the sheet. And I hope for you all to get the full mark in the science exam the day after tomorrow. So thank you very much and see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Bye, sir. Is this the final class?
Bye.